this video we're going to go over single-dimensional arrays. So an array, like most things in Java, sounds fancy, but it's actually a pretty simple idea once you get down to it. An array is just a list of things. And all those things are the same. They can be integers, they can be booleans, they can be characters or strings, whatever you want, as long as they're all booleans or all integers or all doubles or, well, you get the idea. They're all the same data type. So the first thing that we need to know about arrays, after knowing exactly what they are, is how to create them. So let's say I want an array of doubles. Well, first I would type in my data type, double, and I open and close these brackets. That makes this double an array. Well, it makes an array of doubles. I could have more than one bracket, and that would be a two-dimensional array or three-dimensional, and it could go on forever. But for now, this video is only going to deal with single-dimensional arrays. And then I name the array. I'll call it my array. So that equal to new double. And then inside this bracket, I type in how many elements I would like in the array. We'll go with 10. Alright, so we've created our array, but we need to assign some values for it, because it's just an array of... it's an empty array, it doesn't do any good. So, I'll have my array 1 equals... let's say I want 15.7 in there. My array 2 equals 89.3. We'll assume these are test scores. I'm going to pause the video for a minute while I finish this part of it. Okay, I'm back and I've got most of this filled out, and we're missing just a little bit. So I made a mistake a little bit ago whenever I started filling out the values for this. Since it's a computer, computers start counting at 0. So I have elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need a 10th element. Well, element 9 is the 10th element. The 0th element is what most people would call the first element. Let's say they got 100%. These are test scores. So now I have my array. I have an array of test scores. There's a few different things I can do with it. Let's see. The length, first a little bit about it. The length of the array is the number of elements, which is 10 if you count these up. 1 through 9 plus the 0th makes 10 elements. But the last element is referred to as length minus 1, because that is the 9th element and the length is 10. So if I want to get the last element in any array, it'll be the length minus 1. Even if it's only an array of one item, which you can have, and they actually are used sometimes, but that's beyond the scope of this course. So this way is kind of an annoying way to define all the elements in an array. Luckily, Java provides us with a faster way. We can define it this way. Double, I'll call it better array equals, and then I just start some curly braces, and inside those curly braces I put a bunch of integers, or doubles in this case. So 100, 15.7, 89.3, 76.9. I'm just going to continue doing that till the end. Alright, now that I'm done with that, notice I end it with the curly brace again, and then the very last part in that line is a semicolon. So I have an array of scores, and I think these are all the same. I might have typed 1 or 2 wrong, but that's not important right now. So let's see what I can do with this array. Maybe I want to know the class average. So how do you think that I could sum these up and get the score? Well, I'll give you a quick hint before I let you work on that. We'll say better, or we'll print out one line of it. So better array, then if I type in 1 here, I will get 15.7 because that's the first element. The 100 is referred to as the 0th element. So if I run this program, I should type in 15.7, or that's what the output should be. And that was successful. 15.7 was the output. So how do you think I could figure out the average score given an array of any size of scores? I'll let you think about that for a moment if you want to pause the video and work on that. But now I'm going to actually do that for you. So we would do that with a for loop. First we would get a value to keep track of what the current score is. We would add up all the scores, then divide by the number of scores, so we'll call it double sum, and we'll set that equal to 0. Then we create our for loop, so for int I equals 0, because we want to start the 0th element in the array. I is less than better array.length. We are going to iterate I by 1 each time. And inside this for loop, we want to change the value of sum. Sum will plus equal, so sum equals itself plus whatever I give here, which will be better array at the ith place. And we'll close off that for loop there. So if we print this out, this will be the sum of everything. So we know there's 10 scores here, so the average score is 70.836, and we need to get the computer to print that out. Well, we don't want to just divide it by 10 because we're trying to generalize this for an array of any size. So we'll say we'll set up a average score. Score equals, that'll be the sum, but we need to divide that by 10, or by the number of elements in the array. So what we do is type in our array name, better array.length. And it looks like I'm having an error here. Okay, I paused the video for a minute there. I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. It was actually a careless error that I had. It was average score was two different words, and the computer didn't recognize that as one variable. So whenever I print this out, average score is, I'll say average score, and this should give me the average score. So I'll run that. So the sum was 708.36, and the average score would be that divided by 10, which, well, in this case it would be that divided by 10, which is 70.836. So it looks like this program is working nicely. I hope that was a good enough introduction to arrays. I think that's really all you'll need for now, but I'll probably be going into a little bit more in depth in some of the later courses that I try to teach on here. If you think I should go more in depth on this one, please let me know. If you have an example you would like me to do, or some type of quick assignment you would like me to do on here, I would be happy to do that, and I'll try to get it up as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.